giving my Pecha Kucha speech on why everyone should travel. I myself have traveled a lot for school, for sports, for just with my family, and I believe that it's a good way to like learn new cultures, meet new people. A lot of times you can get stuck just looking at where you live and what it's like where you live, and you don't get to experience the rest of the world. You just see through your little bubble like we do here in Muncie, this shot of Muncie. Not the best town in America, I think we could all agree, but I think a lot of us grow up in places like this, and there are different places all over the world that we never really get to experience. There's places in other countries and other areas that culture that we don't get here in Muncie. So there are multiple ways in which you can travel. One is by car. I've done my fair share of traveling in the car. It may sound like it's terrible because you don't get there as fast, but you really get to know who you're traveling with, who's with you in the car, family, friends. Another way is by plane. The first time I flew in an airplane, I was in 8th grade. It's pretty scary, not gonna lie. A lot different than traveling in the car. You get there a lot faster. A lot of people don't think it's as safe, but it's probably safer than a car because you're not traveling for as long. Another way in which you can travel is by boat, whether that being a cruise, which your literal whole travel is on the transportation that you're taking, or whether that be ferry or any other boat to get to where you're going, like an island or just somewhere that's not accessible by land, and train. I recently traveled by train, which I'm sure a lot of you in the class did too, when we went to Canada this fall. This was probably my least favorite way of travel. It was the slowest. We stopped a lot, and going through the countryside of Canada, there wasn't much to see. So in my life, I've traveled a lot of places, like in the U.S. and out of the country. This was in New York, which is one of my favorite places that I've ever been. And growing up in a town with just 2,000 people, it was kind of weird going to a city that's bigger like this to get to meet or experience a different culture, a completely different way of living, because there are probably 2,000 people in any area at any given point, and that was more people than I had ever interacted with in my whole entire life. So just getting into a bigger city like that and learning there are different ways of life. This is Boston, which I also visited when I was in high school on a school trip, and knowing that I wanted to go into architecture and always loving history, this was a great place to go to and a great learning experience, learning about who founded America and where or what it was like when it was founded, and just to learn that history just through travel gave me a much deeper understanding of where we came from. We didn't come from where I'm from in Ohio. We came from little settlements like this. This was taken when I traveled to Mexico, Cozumel over the summer, and this was completely different than any trip I had ever been on, being that people there spoke English, but just being in a different like culture and environment where it was totally unlike anything I had ever been around before was just totally eye-opening and a great experience from travel. This was a ruin at Tulum, which again goes back to the history aspect of why I travel sometimes and why others should. This was from my Canada trip with the School of Architecture here this fall, and this was, like I said earlier, traveling for school. So a big part of architecture is traveling and experiencing different cultures and different foods, like shown here. This was poutine, our first night we ate there, and this was probably the best international food that I've ever had, and I think many others would agree with me. And just if I would have never like branched out and went somewhere, I would have never known that this was out here. I'd probably been eating hamburgers and fries at McDonald's or something. So most of the times when I travel, I go with my family. This is us at the airport. We just, ever since I was a kid, every summer we'd go on a trip. We'd go anywhere in the United States, mostly by car. Here we are again at the beach. Mostly by car, but we've flown, and just getting to grow more with my family and like experience different things with them was just it just creates like memories with your family and helps your relationship with them grow. And this was a school field trip last year, freshman year, when we went to Chicago. And I would say based, and many others would probably say based off this trip, just traveling with them and getting to know them more. Most of us are still friends today. So I think by traveling, you're just able to experience a whole bunch of different things that you never would here in Muncie. You'd be able to go anywhere in the world with today's technology. That's possible. Hundreds of years ago, it wasn't as much, but now you can experience literally any culture around the world. And I think just traveling and not staying in one spot and branching out is a great way to do that. So thank you.